Okay guys, last but not least we have the Angry Bird, and I don't want this to be a super long video, so you should already know the techniques needed to create this, and there's going to be a bunch of objects here. The first thing you're going to want to do is create a new layer. Locking, just created it there, I don't want it there, I'm going to lock everything else so that doesn't happen. I got layer 5 and I'm going to call it bird. And essentially what we want to do is work from the back or the furthest distance forward. So the first thing I'm going to do is create the black outline. I'm not going to use a stroke in this case. I want to create an actual shape that is that black outline. Again, I might do this a little quicker than I normally would to get through this video, but I'm going to get my pen tool and black, and I'm going to start clicking. And again, I'm trying to use the handles to create the curvature as much as possible. I'm actually going to come back and build the feathers, the tail feathers separately. So I'm just going to go out here and I'm looking at my curve and I'm making sure that it's covering the bird pretty good. Click and drag, click and drag. And at this point I should probably go up and hide my trees so I can see where that's going. I'm going to click and drag here. There's sort of an abrupt little curve there. I wonder if I can go to the tip there and just go all the way out. And then come back down to there. And then as I'm going, if I hold down control and I get my direct selection tool, I can go back as I'm doing that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm going to hide it and show it just so I can check my work. I don't really like what's going on down here, so I'm going to get my direct selection tool and I'm going to play with that handle a little bit to get a little more rounded down there. Pull it out, and that's pretty good there. Okay, so at this point you can either leave that alone. I'm going to lock it and I'm going to hide it, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to create tail feathers very quickly. So again, I can bury that way in here, and I'm not even going to get cute with this with rounding anything. I'm going to go just straight, sort of sharp corners, and just to get it over with and make it look, again, close enough. Closing that out. I'll hide that and lock it. And then I'm going to create this outline red separately. So the reason I'm doing that is because we got some weird stuff that comes down in here. We got a real sharp turn in there. It makes it easier to me. Other ways of doing this, but it makes it easier to me just to create the inner red separately with the pen tool if you have some control over it. So I'm going to grab my pen tool and I'm going to select that red color so I don't have to mess with that later. And I'm going to start like way in here, and I'm just going to start creating the curves. And again, using the curvature to hopefully add one there and go way in here. Zoom out. You really don't need too many more anchor points at this point. And remember, we could just set these where we want, and we can play with them and alter them later. I am trying to use the curves as much as possible. This one looks pretty good if I just click there. Zoom in here. Let's see if I can get that to work if I go all the way up there. Yeah, it could be tough. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to click again. And now, again, I'm going to go back and use my control key to get control of my handles. I'm going to get this one. And that was a straight click, so let's get those handles out, get my anchor point tool. And hold down control. See. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not sure why, but I got to make sure I have the right tool. If I get remember, if I use this tool, I can break that slightly and bring it up there. So that works pretty good. This one's not looking very good. Direct selection tool. We've got a lot of pencils to cover there. So again, I'm going to get my handles out and break this and really come back up here, almost right back along that line. And that looks pretty good there. Maybe some issues down here. Direct selection tool. I'm probably going to pull that handle out right here a little bit further. Maybe rotate it down a little bit. Maybe even move it down slightly. So that should be good there. Now if I go do a test and I bring back my other two objects, I can see that I've got a good foundation. Might have gotten too close over there, but at this point, to me, it's good enough. So at this point, again, analyzing the burr, continuing to utilize that lock. What I'm going to do is instead of using a dark red color to create this shadow here, after I create the belly color, I'm going to create one big black blob here. That's that shadow. I'm going to have it go all the way over both the belly part and this other part to create that shadow. So I guess the next thing I should do is create this belly part of it. And to do that, we're going to use a technique you guys should already know and use the path that we've already created so we can share that bottom curve. And I'm going to take the opacity way down, and I'm going to go Control C, Control F. Oh, didn't work. Come on. Control C, Control F. There we go. And I'm going to actually name this really quickly belly so I don't get lost and confused. I'm going to lock the original one, and I'm going to go in, and as you should know, I'm going to create two anchor points, one right here and one right there, so we can preserve that path across the bottom. Oh, I missed. That's the advantage of having smart guides on. Now I got a bunch of deleting to do with my delete anchor point tool, and I want to save just one of those anchor points. In fact, I'm going to turn smart guides on here so I can see when I hit an anchor point very easily. I don't want to spend my time missing the anchor points. And I'm just going one by one. Sorry if this is taking too long. And now I'm going to get my direct selection tool. Oh, I deleted too many. How about let's use this one, and that's fine. Doesn't matter which one we use, we just have to get it in place at the peak of that belly. And then we're going to do this, zoom in, we're going to clamp the outside two anchor points down, and then we're going to manipulate our handles here to get that belly part looking pretty good, and that's good enough. And now, with it selected, I'm going to go find my belly color. I think this is it, belly. And I'm going to bring my opacity way back up and check my work once again. Unlock my original red path. Again, transparency, opacity, up. And if I really want to, I can show the other one and see, okay, we're in good shape right now. We're getting there. At this point, I can do what I just talked about, which is creating that shadow layer all at once. And you don't have to be too cute with this. So again, I'm going to get my pen tool. I'm going to switch to black before I do this, and I'm going to start right about here. And this thing just sort of blends in with everything. Again, using as few anchor points as possible. Boom, boom, boom. Looking at the curves behind as I drag those out. Here, there's another one, and then that sort of blends in with that black, so all I have to do is do that, and then I'm going to take the opacity down on it after I bring these up to take a look. And we can adjust this later, but it looks like maybe it's about right there. Probably a little too dark, but we can fix it later. And again, this video is going to be really long, so again, you should understand how to do this already. The next thing I would build is the eyes, okay, and do different object for the gray part and the white part. You should do the whole thing first. I probably should show you that just so you can actually use stroke in this case to make things a little bit easier. So let's make this eye, for example. I got to bring this back, and I'm going to hide everything. Get my pen tool. I'm actually going to choose the stroke here, make it black, and choose the fill color and make it my eye. I'm going to do my eye white first, and then I can bury this underneath the eyebrow because we're going to draw the eyebrows and use layers over the top. What you want to do is you want to stay on the inside where that gray area is, and I'm looking at the curvature and staying on the inside. At this point, again, we're burying it underneath that eyebrow. And just to be clear, again, we do have a stroke on here. I'm going to click off and back on. And what we have that you guys need to get a little bit used to, we haven't done much of this, is check out the stroke window. So if I go to window, stroke, it'll give us information about that stroke. Right now it's at 1 point, which is fine. And I'm going to hide my image real quick so you can actually see the stroke a little bit better. So So that's a 1 point stroke. And I think for this project, that size is pretty good. I think we can leave it at that. But what I want to do is, if you look very carefully, the stroke is set under a line stroke. If you look at the little thumbnail, the little icon, it shows you that, and you hover over it, line stroke to center. That means that the stroke is going to grow evenly to the outside of the path and to the inside of the path. But what I want, because I clicked on the inside of the stroke as I was creating that object, I want it to go a line stroke outside. I'm going to take a look again. That might be a little bit too thick. No, that's good enough. So we want it aligned outside. You can see it kicked all of that stroke, that black stroke, outside and away from that path that we created. So now we're in pretty good shape. I am going to take the opacity down a little bit. And again, I'm not worried about this black right here. We're going to cover it up with the eyebrows. But what I want to do is create the gray part. So I've created the white part. Now I want to create the gray part. And to do that, all I have to do is make sure I have the object selected, Control C, Control F, and now we're just going to move a few of the anchor points using the direct selection tool. In fact, I think I only have to move one, and get rid of, click off, get my selection tool, get rid of the stroke. So click up here in stroke, choose none. You can do it down here with the none as well. Now I have no stroke. That is the color gray. Gray, there we go. And again, if I bring, I'm gonna close my stroke window. If I bring everything back, just so we can take a look. That one and that one and that one. I don't care about those at this point. I also have to bring my opacity back up for my white portion and my. It's not letting me select it. Is it locked? No. White path. There we go. For some reason, won't let me click on it. And if I zoom out and hide and show the bird, you can see that we're in business. And again, it looks weird because we haven't covered it up with the black eyebrows yet, but that's the basis for creating pretty much all of these objects going forward. And again, this video is already 12 minutes long. You should be able to figure out the rest. I'll give you a hint. Do the eye next. Then I'm going to do an object in here that's just sort of in this shape here. That's this gray sort of mouth teeth area. And then I'm going to build this part right here with a stroke, just like we did with the eye. This part, the beak with the stroke, each time duplicating the object and creating the shadow portion. I'm creating the real color portion and then creating the shadow portion without a stroke. If you need help with that, please let me know. But again, this is 13 minutes long already. I don't want to do much more. You should be able to figure this out. So good luck. Let me know if you need help.